LGBT community under the Constitution have remained controversial in recent years, with growing pressure on legislators. Some Americans have been advocating for the legalization of same-sex marriage since the early 1920s. As years went by, tensions grew between the general population and the gay community. Police began raiding gay bars, and finally, the gay community fought back at the Stonewall riots. Despite not changing any laws, the Stonewall riots encouraged them to pursue legal rights. Today, we look towards the Constitution as a stepping stone for gay rights, by providing protections for gender identification and sexual orientation under the law. The Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment can further gay rights by protecting LGBT people in all aspects of life. The Due Process Clause is important to us because it provides the LGBT community equal protection under the law. The marriage equality ruling was only the first major step towards achieving gay rights advancements and protections under the Constitution. On June 26, 2015, the court case Obergefell v. Hodges overturned the 1972 case Baker v. Nelson. Ruling equal protection under the 14th Amendment, Obergefell v. Hodges proclaimed marriage equality in the United States. The 14th Amendment provides protection from persecution for marital status of members of the LGBT community.
All Americans are entitled to the equal protection of the law. That all people should be treated equally, regardless of who they are or who they love. This decision will end the patchwork system we currently have. It will end the uncertainty hundreds of thousands of same-sex couples face from not knowing whether their marriage, legitimate in the eyes of one state, will remain if they decide to move or even visit another. This ruling will strengthen all of our communities by offering to all loving same-sex couples the dignity of marriage across this great land.
The Constitution lacks protections for LGBT people in public spaces. The Boy Scouts of America versus Dale case ruled in favor of protecting First Amendment rights that include free expression and association of LGBT people. In April 2017, a Chicago appeals court ruled in favor of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, expanding its coverage to include the protections of gay workers from job discrimination, regardless of their gender or sexual orientation.
But the battle is far from done. In over 20 states, people can still be fired from their job just because they're gay or lesbian. Across our country, in schools, gay kids face bullying and sometimes have no place to turn. That's why, while the Supreme Court made an important step forward today, Congress still has a critical role in ending workplace discrimination, protecting gay and lesbian kids from bullying, and ending housing discrimination, and other areas under law where gay and lesbian Americans continue to live in fear. I strongly applaud this step forward. Gay Americans and lesbian Americans want what all other Americans want. We want our committed relationships to be celebrated before our friends and family. We want to not have to worry about the responsibility and rights that come along with marriage. And today, couples that are married in the states that allow it will enjoy those full rights under federal law.
There are few repercussions for those that commit hate crimes against the LGBT community. The Orlando Pulse nightclub was a shooting that took 49 victims and was regarded as the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history at the time. Hate crimes against LGBT people constitute 14% of all hate crimes reported nationally, and the number of gay homicides is increasing. Trump aims to ban transgender military personnel from serving, saying American forces could not afford the tremendous medical costs and disruption of transgender troops. The ban was set to take effect in March 2018, but was blocked by a Supreme Court judge of the Federal District Court for the District of Columbia, ruling that the ban was based on disapproval of transgender people and thus unconstitutional, and that the military's current policy should remain in place.
Sodomy laws outlaws any sex considered to be unnatural, such as bestiality, incest, anal and oral sex. Some religious groups against marriage equality also argue that public accommodation of LGBT people would unfairly require business owners to serve same-sex couples, even if they have a moral or religious objection. Refusing to give full protections under the law for LGBT people has sometimes been disguised as moral or religious objections. Creating legal protections for LGBT persons in the Constitution will lessen the perceived stigma of the LGBT community. Homosexuality was thought to be a mental illness in the past. When researchers examined data about gay people, the idea that homosexuality was a mental illness was found to be untrue. The 14th Amendment, and specifically the Due Process Clause, is important to us because it ensures the rights of all Americans that cannot be taken away based upon their gender or sexual orientation. By protecting the LGBT community under the 14th Amendment, the Constitution may very well be a necessary step to ensuring equal rights for Americans of different sexual preferences and gender identities.